Good morning, everybody. James here from the Candidate Coach. It's Thursday, 22nd of July. Hope you've had a great morning. I hope your job hunting has been successful so far. And I hope today, as we talk about cover letters, you're able to get out one or two things from this workshop today that is going to help you improve the way that you're submitting cover letters. As I said, my name's James. Our workshop today is going to go for about 30 minutes. We're coming to you live via our YouTube channel. And if you're watching on one of our Candidate Coach partner sites, you should be able to interact with us and ask me any questions that you like via our chat functions. So let's get stuck in. A little bit about me before we begin, just so you know who I am as your presenter. I'm a director at Smart Recruitment, where I've been since 2015. 2005, not 15 years I've been there, coming up to 16. In that time, I've personally conducted over 3,000 interviews. It could be as high as 5,000, I was thinking the other day, and well over 600 group assessments. At Smart, we have a focus on recruiting roles where soft skills and interview behaviours and things like that are key, including having a great cover letter. And we launched the Candidate Coach in 2019, December 2019. So the platform that we're talking on today has been around for about 18 months now. So let's get into cover letters. So I've got a question and I would love you to type your answer into the comments box. Are you submitting a cover letter with every job application? When you make an application, are you putting your cover letter for every single job? Type your answer into the comments box there. Let me know whether you are doing this or not. And while you're doing that, I've got a follow-up question. Are you tailoring each and every cover letter to make it specific to each vacancy? So again, yes, no, or sometimes. Are you spending time on each cover letter to really personalize it, to make it specific for that one job? So we've got no, we've got only sometimes, we've got yes, we've got sometimes again. All right. Well, someone said, if I really want the job. That's a very interesting comment. If you don't really want the job, I guess my question to you is, why are you applying? Because we really need to be only applying for jobs we really, really want and putting in a lot of effort. So I want to run a scenario past you. This is Joanne. She is a recruiter. And during my presentation today, you might see me looking over here because that's my shared screen. So Joanne is a recruiter. She reads cover letters before she opens the resume. She reads cover letters before she opens the resume. So have a little bit of a think about the impact that makes on your application. If you don't have a cover letter, or your cover letter is really, really poor, Joanne may never even see your resume. Now, not all recruiters are like Joanne. But the problem you've got is you don't know when you're applying for a role whether you're applying to a recruiter like Joanne or not, who's going to read the resume before she reads the cover letter. So if you're not submitting a cover letter, or your cover letter is really poor and it's not specific to that particular role, doesn't matter how good your resume is, Joanne might not look at it at all. So let's keep that in mind as we go along today. My view from the Candidate Coach is you must submit a cover letter. Whoops, gone too fast there. You must submit a cover letter for every job, because you can only do one of two things as a job seeker. You can only submit a resume and you can only submit a cover letter. So why would you pass? Why would you pass on submitting one of those two things? I know some people like to say it's 2021, cover letters are dead, they're not relevant anymore. But I think that is just a really, it's a really old school view. It's probably a lazy view. Yes, there are some recruiters who don't read resumes. I'm not going to lie. There's many recruiters who don't read resumes, but you don't know whether you're applying to one of those recruiters or not. So unless a recruiter has said, don't worry about your cover letter, I never read them, you must submit a cover letter. So What should your answers be? Are you submitting a cover letter to every application? The answer must be yes. And are you tailoring each and every cover letter to make it specific to that vacancy? The answer must be yes. This is what you must do in a competitive process to land the job. All right, so now that we've established that, how do we actually write a really good cover letter? I'm going to give you a great formula today that's easy to replicate and change for each job. So a really great formula that you can write within 10 minutes. So once you've written your first cover letter using the Candidate Coach's formula, you can tailor your cover letter for every single job in under 10 minutes. So a lot of people ask, what's the difference? What's the difference, coach, between a resume and a cover letter? Well, a cover letter is different language. Think about writing a letter. When you write a letter, not that we write letters very often anymore in 2021, even if you write an email, you personalize it. That letter is going to a person or it's going to an organization. So you write it in different language. You are addressing it to someone. You're expecting somebody to read it. We must research the company and the position and include, this is the key line here, include that information in your cover letter. So I get lots of cover letters. I get hundreds. I will get tens of thousands of cover letters this year. Some of them will say, dear sir. Some of them will say, dear sir or madam. Some of them will say, to whom it may concern. In every single one of my own advertisements, I have my name. So if someone's not using my name, dear James, occasionally dear Mr. Whitcomb, I don't really like to be called that, but if somebody's used my name, I can see that they've put in some effort there. The effort needs to continue to, if it just says, dear James, please find attached my resume for the sales manager role at Smart Recruitment, straight away I'm thinking tick, tick, tick. That person has done at least the minimum level of research and included my name, the job title, and the company name as well. That's base level. That's absolute minimum that I would expect. It must be 1 page long. Doesn't need to be more than 1 page. The only reason your cover letter would be more than 1 page is if in the advertisement they have asked you to address a selection criteria that is quite lengthy. If the selection criteria is quite lengthy, that's okay to go over 1 page because you need to address that if it's been asked in the job advertisement. Proofread it multiple times. Spelling mistakes are pretty easy to pick up using Microsoft Word and other tools. You get that red wobbly line underneath that tells you it's a spelling mistake. Grammatical errors, though, come up all the time. So one thing I always do, if I'm writing an advertisement or if I'm writing something important where I don't want any errors at all, I read it out aloud. That helps, and I read it quite slowly. So I then go, oh, that doesn't sound right, or those words don't go right together. Or better still, ask somebody else to read it for you. That's also what I do with my work. I ask some of my colleagues to proof check, and 9 times out of 10, they find a mistake that I didn't know was there. So let's stop submitting the same cover letter for every vacancy. Every single job you apply for is different, even if they all have the same title. If you apply for 5 accounting jobs, and all those jobs just say accountant as their job title, I bet once you read through the description in the advertisement, there are some differences there. So there needs to be some differences in your cover letter. And as I said on Tuesday's session, those of you who attended Tuesday's workshop, it's likewise with your resume. So stop submitting the same cover letter for every vacancy. It doesn't work. It works against you. If you are using the same cover letter for every job, you are decreasing your chances of getting that job. All right, so that's my impassioned plea to you. That's what I want you to do. Let me show you how you can do it. All right, a good cover letter looks like this. 4 paragraphs. 4, think the number 4. Very straightforward. 4 simple paragraphs, and I'm going to show you how to write them. So, paragraph 1, specifically address the role and the company that you are applying to. 2 sentences should be enough. Now, if you can get the person's name, as I said, put it at the top of the cover letter. I love getting a cover letter where it says, Dear James. However, I know that on a lot of advertisements, there might not be a person's name. So if there is not a person's name, you can write, Dear Hiring Manager, Dear Sir or Madam, to whom it may concern. You can write those types of things. What I would also encourage you to do, though, is if you are looking at an advertisement and there's no name there, There's nothing wrong with calling the organization and saying, hey, who can I address my cover letter to? Who should I really want to stand out, Mr. or Mrs. Receptionist. And that receptionist very often will tell you the name. Oh, okay, Samantha's looking after that role. Now, if Samantha gets 100 applications for the job and one person, you, has put Dear Samantha on the cover letter, Samantha's probably going to be like, hey, how did this person get my name? Every other candidate's put Dear Sir or Madam. So if you can get that person's name, that could be the one thing in your whole application that really helps you to stand out. So one call to reception, who should I address my cover letter to, could make all the difference. If you don't know the name though, that's okay. In this paragraph, it's simply, please find attached my resume for this job, whatever the job title is, with this company. Straight away, if I see that on the opening line, I know that the job seeker has put in some effort and they're not sending me the same cover letter that they spit out to every single role. Paragraph 2. So paragraph 1, that should only take you 1 minute. That's just putting in what you already know. Paragraph 2, we want to mention 2 or 3 things you know about the organization or the vacancy. So this here is where I like to see job seekers start to show, again, that they're putting in some effort into their application, that they really care about their application. So what 2 or 3 things could you mention here? Well, most of the time you've got the name of the organization. So you can Google, you can go onto their careers page, you can find some news about them online. So mention something you know about the organization and mention something that you know about the vacancy and include it. And I'm going to show you an example in a moment. Include it in the cover letter. So this paragraph here is just 2 or 3 things. Could be one thing you know about the company or one thing you know about the job. Paragraph 3, we're going to talk about you. So mention your skills and experience that are relevant to the position. So one of the biggest mistakes that candidates make with their cover letter is they talk about their skills, and their skills are the same on every single cover letter. Here I'm telling you, again, you can only mention 2 or 3 things on your cover letter. So you need to pick the 2 or 3 things that are most relevant to the advertisement. Don't tell me you've got a great typing speed if the advertisement is not asking about your typing speed. That is just a waste. But if the advertisement says you must have a strong typing speed, absolutely you want to mention that in your cover letter. So mention key skills that are relevant. They need to be relevant. And you'll only know what's relevant based on the advertisement here. Now, you might say, hey, it is quite similar from job to job. What they're asking for in terms of my industry, the skills are going to be very similar. That's fine. You don't need to change it for every job. But there's no point in mentioning a couple of key skills if the advertisement is asking for key skills in different areas. It's just a wasted opportunity for you. And then paragraph 4 is just a brief conclusion. I look forward to hearing back, something along those lines. So paragraph 1 and paragraph 4 should be very, very straightforward for you, because all we're doing is addressing the company and the job, and paragraph 4, it's a brief conclusion. Paragraph 2 and 3 is where you need to do the work. But again, once you've written your first cover letter, you are just interchanging details in and out here. So I think, and I'd love to hear your comments, do you think that this particular format is something that is easy for you to replicate? I'm going to give you a moment to take a screenshot before we move on. I'm going to show you an example, but if you've got your camera there or you want to write this down, I'm just going to leave that up on the screen there for a moment for you to take a screenshot, because this is the formula that I think anybody can easily replicate to make a great cover letter. So I'll just leave that up for a moment. All right, now let me show you what it actually looks like. So here's one I prepared earlier. Okay, hopefully you can see that. You might need to zoom in a little bit. So Dear Rupert, okay, first of all, we use the person's name. That's great. I'm writing to you as an enthusiastic applicant for the marketing coordinator with Duke Industries. So paragraph 1, we've mentioned the job and we've mentioned the company. Paragraph 2, this is where we're going to get into talking about what we know about the company. So I've long followed Duke Industries and was impressed to see them win an award at last month's National Marketing Awards. To be recognised for digital innovation is a great achievement. As a passionate marketing graduate, I've studied Duke Industries' graduate marketing program and am impressed with commitment to both technical and holistic learning. So we've got 4 or 5 lines there. It sounds like a really well written paragraph. It is, because I wrote it. But you can see here that the candidate is addressing what they know about the organization. And to me, that shows a really good interest in the organization. And guess what recruiters want to see? They don't want to see a cover letter from just anyone saying anything. They want to see a cover letter from a candidate who's really keen to work for them, who says, I've long followed, who can demonstrate they know a little bit about the organization. So if you can do that, it's fantastic. Then paragraph 3, we're now going to talk about you, or me. And again, this is a hypothetical cover letter. So completing my master's in marketing last year, I was given the opportunity as an intern in the marketing department at Rosenberg and Associates. This 12-month placement included 4 rotations. However, it was digital marketing that I enjoyed the most. I worked with several top-tier clients and gained great exposure. I was awarded Intern of the Year from a pool of 20. Now, you might not be able to write a paragraph there that highlights your skills quite as well as this one does, but it is easy for you to pick 2 or 3 things. Pick 2 or 3 skills, pick 2 or 3 parts of your educational background that are really relevant to the job. So as you can see in the first line here, this person is applying for a marketing coordinator role. And in paragraph 3, they've talked about they've got a master's in marketing and they've done a marketing internship recently. So it's being very, very specific. And then paragraph 4, I look forward to hearing back from you, basically. Kind regards in my name. So again, paragraph 1 and 4, very straightforward. Paragraph 1 and 4. Paragraphs 2 and 3 is where you do the work. That's where you do the work. And I do think that once you've done this one, a couple of times, you can do this in under 10 minutes for each cover letter. And I should mention, if you like this template, you can download it. It's available on your Candidate Coach website. So if you're watching our webinar today on one of our Candidate Coach platforms, go back to the resume or CV templates, and you'll see there's a cover letter template there. You can download this and put in your own details. Now, here's a different version. So this is the same cover letter in a different layout. So if you have a look where the text is, Dear Rupert, I'm writing to you, it's same text in that text component there on your screen. But I've sort of modernized the layout here. Used the name at the top, put a title there, graduate marketing coordinator, put contact details. I've included a photo on this template. And I've also included down that side there just a little bit of a profile. So the actual letter part is the same, but the layout, and there's some extra information there. Again, this template is downloadable from our candidate coaching platform. Thank you to the person who says, I would love to work for Duke Industries. Unfortunately, I made it up. It's not a real company. Maybe one day it will be. But you can download this template as well from your candidate coaching platform. Whether you like the first one, whether you like the second one, it's your personal brand. It's up to you. You need to choose which one is more comfortable. So if you want to receive more cover letter tips, go back to your candidate coaching platform and watch episode 7. In episode 7, you will hear from myself and 5 other recruiters who will give you their opinions on what they like in cover letters. So 5 or 6 recruiters from different organizations talking about the importance and how you can write a great cover letter. Go and watch that video and go and watch the other videos on the candidate coaching platform. If you're still, that slide's in the wrong order. So still wanting more assistance overall, back on your candidate coaching platform, you've got 12 episodes. So 12 coaching videos that you can go and watch from all the way through the recruitment process. So we started off with the importance of attitude and mindset. We then get into resume and cover letter writing. We then get into interview preparation, how to resign, how to negotiate salaries, how to prepare for video interviews, and so on. We've also got, as I mentioned, those resume and cover letter templates that you can download. We've got interview questions. So go and download interview questions specific to your industry to help you prepare for work. We've got practice tests that you can take. We've also got checklists. We've got articles, advice for executive job seekers. And on this page, every week, we're running 2 live workshops. So where you're watching today, be back here next week. All this is for free. So next week on Tuesday, we're going to talk about LinkedIn preparation. So if you're not sure whether or not your LinkedIn profile is good enough, or even more importantly, if you want to optimize your LinkedIn profile, I'm going to give you some tips and tricks, particularly for when you're looking for work, that can really help your LinkedIn profile to stand out. And then next Thursday, we're going to talk about how to stand out at interview. So thank you for attending today. I would love for you to provide me with some particular feedback. I'm going to copy and paste this link into the chat box now. Please spend 2 minutes just completing this quick survey. One of the things I asked for in this survey is, what else would you like to know about? So I'm about to release our August coaching workshops. We'll be running 8 workshops across August. I would love to hear from you. What other topics would you like the candidate coach to run workshops on? So please take 2 minutes to complete that survey for me. And I've copied and pasted and dropped that link into the chat box. So now's the time for any other questions. If you have got any questions that you would like to ask me, I'm happy to answer any questions related to cover letters, or I'm also happy to answer questions that are not related to cover letters. So it might be a question about your resume, interview prep, anything along those lines. So I'm just going to pause for a moment because we have about a 20-second lag with the chat. If you've got a question, please pop it into the chat box now. Alrighty, so one question's just come through. Should I include a photo? So very common question that we get at the Candidate Coach, both with resumes and with cover letters, is should I include a photo on my resume or a photo on my cover letter? My straightforward answer is very, very clearly, it is up to you. It is up to you. Your resume and your cover letter need to sell you. They need to promote you. It's your personal brand. So you need to decide whether adding a photo to your resume and your cover letter is going to help you land a job. And you also need to decide whether it's something you're comfortable with. So once you put a photo on your resume, you are going to be judged on your appearance and how you look. Everybody, including recruiters, have what we call unconscious bias. Once we've seen a photo of somebody, we can't help but make decisions on our feelings and views for that person. If you are going to include a photo, it needs to be a professional photo, a corporate headshot, and it needs, not something, from the backyard or with your friends or at a wedding, a smiling corporate headshot. So another question, how do you create a cover letter if the agency hasn't disclosed who the client or the industry? I see many ads posted that are still quite generic, but I still want to stand out. So how would I do that? That's a great question. Thank you to the person who has asked that on the chat function. What I would say here, and it's not an easy answer, but there's a couple of things you can do. And you will all have seen what this person has asked here. You find an ad, it's for a recruitment agency. It doesn't give you a lot of details. Some of the details you will know the job title. So use the job title at the recruitment agency. So in the least, you could say, dear hiring manager, please find attached my resume for the accounting role that you've advertised via the recruitment agency. So at a minimum, I would do that. I would also encourage you to actually call the recruitment agency and just say, hey, would you mind just telling me which industry this job's in? Because I'd like to address my cover letter to that. Now, they might say no, we can't tell you what industry it's in. And if they say no, you haven't lost anything. But if they say, hey, this is in the manufacturing industry, well, then all of a sudden you've got some information, you've got a little bit of intel that the other job seekers don't have. And you can go away and then you can write in paragraph 2, I think it was 2, what you know about the manufacturing industry. And you might not know a lot about it, but at least you can talk about it there. So pick up the phone and make a quick call. If you get no, then just go back and address the person or dear hiring manager, the job title, and the name of the agency. That's the most that you can do, but at least it's doing something. Thank you for those 2 questions that came through. I'm going to pause again just for a moment. If anybody else has got any questions, now is the time to answer it. If not, please do click on that survey link. It was great to have you all on the line today, and we'll be back here next week on Tuesday, where we're going to be talking about LinkedIn profiles. Enjoy the rest of the day. Good luck for those of you who are in Victoria, New South Wales, and Queensland like me with the lockdown. I hope it all goes well for you, and I look forward to seeing you online again next week. Bye-bye for now.